Okay, welcome to the Helen Plum Board of Trustees meeting for July 16th, 2024, 7 p.m. Meeting is called to order. Please stand for the meeting. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anything ever?
Allison Kingswood,
Here.
Sue Wiggins,
Here.
Kristen Hazen-Sedwall, here, Julie Walker-Smith,
Here.
Jennifer Erickson,
Here.
Ginger Kearney,
Here.
Kelly Sims.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we move on. We have a motion for the first action item. The adoption of the agenda. We have a second. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next action item.
Really quickly, we passed around an updated copy of the financial reports. There was a page that was redundant, and we were missing page 2 of the revenue and expenses versus budget report, so that's now been provided.
Thank you. I move for approval of the consent agenda items. We have a second.
I second.
Okay, any discussion regarding any other reports, anything else you want to add, and other than the corrected? I don't know what else.
The correction of percentage. Over the minutes, I'm so sorry, Jen. On the minutes on pages 2 and 3, Kristen's name was spelled incorrectly, so we'll update that.
Oh, yeah. I missed that. And I never. That's. Yeah, I know. And I just like.
This will be the trend for the evening. How many mistakes were made? And that's just the first or second, actually. No, that's so.
Yeah.
Not that bad. We're doing okay, but yeah.
Well, then Girl Scout be capitalized, because I did write that, but I didn't catch the E.
Which page?
The same page. I wasn't gonna mention it.
Yeah.
Girl Scout troop, I don't know. It's not that important.
Well, is it Girl Scout troop something? Is it? I'm trying to see what you think.
And you know what, it doesn't, because it's just local Girl Scout troop, so it doesn't need to count. I cannot believe I missed that E.
It actually makes us feel slightly better, I think.
This is not a specific section, not that fun. Wow, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Let me see, I don't lose track of where I am. I don't really take much. Okay, so any other comments regarding the consent agenda? Okay. Okay, so we'll go on to vote. Okay. All in favor of passing or approving the consent agenda items as written? Any opposed? Okay, another motion carries. All right, moving on to committee reports. Audit committee. There is not here. Did you guys meet?
We did not meet.
Okay, thank you.
We have a meeting scheduled for next week.
Got it. The Senate committee is here, but that has concluded, so I'll answer for that.
It was officially submitted June 7th, so we can put that update in since we happen to have it on the agenda.
Okay. Thought it looked amazing. So Director Relations Committee?
We did not meet, but we do have a meeting on August 20th, and prior to that, we've been discussing the board's evaluation, so we should have an update on that sent out shortly.
Thank you. And policy environments.
We do not meet, but we have a meeting next Wednesday.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. So the land acknowledgement statement, you're still creating it, or?
Well, Julie and I are working on it, and we are working to make the statement more intentional and make more frequent updates to it. So it has been moved onto the main page of the board information on the website, so it's much easier to see. It is just above our pictures. You haven't been on the website lately, so it's right there to see. And we want to have more frequent updates to that, and we will contact some of the local Indigenous groups to help us with what would be appropriate and add to that. And then Julie's going to
Yeah.
do some other.
So one of the things we were gonna focus on is piloting assets in our collection, because our library, and take those ideas to, Midwest Soaring, and then there's a couple of organizations we were gonna reach out to. And then also, building like cultural connections, both local and then also, other impacts. That are important. And then I believe the full statement, and correct me if I'm wrong, when the new website goes live will be
The
a link.
full statement is on the website
Okay.
with the new building information.
Okay.
And we were kind of reconsidering like what makes sense going forward, but that'll be a longer discussion, I think, in terms of what goes where.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, thank you so much.
I think that highlights David's.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business, the first action item.
I move to adopt a tentative budget and appropriations ordinance 2024-2025-002.
A second?
Thank you. Okay, so what additional details do you want us to have on
So
that?
I provided a highlighted copy to indicate where the changes were to make it easier to identify. When I was reviewing it today, I was like, I missed stuff. So we added the very important word tentative, as we are approving the tentative ordinance and not the ordinance which we're looking at in August. I also updated the date at the top, and at the end of the document. There's a footnote added saying what we've said in prior years, that this is subject to change prior to the final approval by the board expected in August. I put the board's date on there. Next meeting date rather. On page 2. There was one too many zeros added to the dues, our dues that we're appropriating.
Yeah.
It really does. So that impacted that line along with that subtotal and the final total at the end and a few of the numbers on the last page. There was also an internal note in the original copy that I pulled off. I'm not sure how long that's been hanging on there, but I think it was as old as 2019 and 2020. But the changes here are highlighted for your ease, and we'll make those upon your approval. In general, this year's approach was a bit more conservative. In prior years, we were appropriating somewhere around 25% for most of the line items, 25% more than what the working budget estimated. The reason for this is we have some more experience in the building, but we also opted to move to asking for more for a contingency. So if there is a catastrophe, we still have the money there, but this would be a more real reflection of what we're spending. And closer to our working budget. The areas in which there are some anomalies to this is on page 2, under collections memorials, that one is higher than the typical 10% elsewhere in this document, because we want to make sure if we do get a larger memorial donation, we're able to spend it. Under page 2 on operations, the technology management system and softwares, as well as the technology purchase and maintenance, those are appropriated at closer to 25%. Those are higher budgets. We just wanted a little more comfort room. For expensive software, et cetera. And then also on page 2, under facilities, this section is closer to 25% for most of those items, with the exception of repair and maintenance. Which we've put at 100%, because that is the biggest question mark with any building. So in general, though, it's a 10% with a couple 25% marks and 100% mark on the repair and maintenance. Any questions?
And one of our boardings, we discussed like the potential involvement in the parade in some way, shape or form. Would you think of that as falling into and I know we haven't discussed that further since that meeting,
So
but would you think of that as the special events?
That was included in special events.
Okay.
I think it was, I don't know if I made a note of it at the meeting last month, but that was accounted for in that budget, in the working budget. It's a good thing to follow up on.
So just another question, and
As far as the building itself goes,
Mhm.
what kind of items or overall is still under warranty or?
It
Thanks.
varies.
Yes.
We have a warranty binder that is about 2 inches thick with all the warranties. Most of the materials are still under warranty through this year. But the warranties vary from 2 to 5 years. So does that sound about right
For most things.
for most things?
So we've still, for
So we-
basic intents and purposes, we're still under warranty for most
For
of the
most
buildings.
things, yeah.
for
But that
another year.
doesn't, not
Yeah.
everything's always covered
Right,
and
understand,
some things
but
aren't
just-
working necessarily 100% as expected. So
Right.
what do we need?
Yeah,
Let's just be
But just
careful.
generally, a lot of the big ticket items are still going to be under warranty.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just have one, because I know we had kind of talked about working out a depreciation list.
Yeah.
or as things were out in the building, and would that be under?
So we're in the very beginning of that process.
Right.
And we're contracting with the folks that we've worked with on this project all along, Ingberg Anderson. They'll be doing an assessment of the building in total. That includes furniture, fixtures, building components, exterior components, landscaping. That process starts later this month. We'll do a thorough walkthrough of the building and start to really be able to plan year to year. What do we need to set aside in order to support this building long term? So we aren't budgeting officially for that yet. The process to get that done is included in the new building budget. And I think there was a note in the working budget to indicate that too.
Okay, so that expense is in our.
Yes.
Tentative budget, okay. All right, that's all I have. All right, can I have, motion to, or the motion, sorry, all in favor of adopting the tentative budget and appropriations ordinance 2024-2025-2, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. On to the next action item. So we have a roll call for the tentative budget. Great question. Should be a roll call.
Previously, we had-
It should be.
Okay. No, it's,
Alison Pink Floyd,
yes.
Sue Wiggins,
Yeah.
Julie Walton Smith.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Jenny Erickson.
Yes.
Ginger Kearney.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Action item B? No. Oh, Saturday. Oh, okay.
I move to set a date for action item action item B. Sorry, set a date for a public hearing to discuss tentative budget and appropriation order.
So that's,
August, we can do it
Right.
ahead of our August meeting. We're required to have 30 days between the adoption of the tentative B&A and the hearing, and this is more than 30 days for the next regularly scheduled board meeting, so we can do it the same day.
and so on that date, will we be waiting to see if there's any kind of public comment?
So, yeah, well, it'll start the meeting, just like in prior years, if anyone has
Yes, it's
comment.
that first
It's-
5 minutes or
It's the
so.
first 5 minutes, and then we
Okay.
move right into the typical meeting.
Okay, perfect.
So that's,
Okay.
August 20th.
Yes.
Thank you.
So do we need to vote for setting the date? We've got it, okay. Is it also roll call?
No.
Okay, so all in favor of setting the date for the public hearing, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. That motion carries. Thank you. All right, next action item.
I move to adopt ordinance 2024-2025-003 to transfer funds from the library fund to the special reserve.
A second.
Okay, we've already discussed it. Does anybody have any other questions? Did you say how much?
This is, it's in the order.
I saw it in the budget.
So this is what we do at the end of the fiscal year, we move funds that are unspent into. We're moving them two places, the first is the special reserves, the second is the debt service fund. What I'll say regarding the debt service fund is that it's specific to paying for the bonds that paid for this building. So the money that we're putting there is the remainder of that 1.6 million that we typically set aside for the bond payment that, because our payment comes in from that. So we're still putting that money aside so that that can be used to pay for the building down the line.
Any other questions? Okay, I imagine that is a roll call.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, Helen Plum Library.
Yes.
Dugan.
Yes.
Julie Walter Smith.
Yes.
Susan Walsh. Jenny Erickson.
Yes.
Ginger Kenny.
Yes.
Kelly Moore.
Okay, let's see, last action item, E.
I move to adopt ordinance 2024-2025 0 to transfer funds from the library fund to the debt service fund.
I second.
Okay, and where will we find that on our?
That was second ordinance there. I kind of talked about them together.
Yeah.
And again, this is the debt service one, so it will only be spent on paying off the bonds.
Right.
And it's because we budgeted for more than the payment.
Because-
Okay.
Yes, well, and that was part of the, referendum, is that the plan was that we would be spending 1.6 million in, payments for this building. When the building plans were delayed, we came in lower, all of those things,
Right.
worked as they did, and that's why we're still saying, no, we said 1.6, we're gonna continue putting 1.6 aside so that we can pay off this building more efficiently, potentially.
Okay. Then we're ready.
Helen Plum.
Yes.
Dugan.
Yes.
Julie Walter Smith.
Yeah.
Susan Walsh. Yes. Jenny Erickson.
Yes.
Ginger Kenny.
Yes.
Kelly Moore.
Okay, moving on to communications.
I did not receive anything.
Okay, all right. Library director's report.
Okay, as indicated in the submitted report that I would give you an update on the buildings. 110 West Maple Street, the last thing that needed to be installed was installed. So the Tide Flex check valve, which is the backflow preventer, was installed, which means we can start taking steps to work on the title transfer. We don't have a date set at this point, but the wheels are in motion and it's feeling like it's getting closer and more real.
Title transfer.
Yes. So at 411 South Main Street, we've had some unresolved issues, including we're still having some issues with part of the HVAC system. You'll feel in the building that it's all very cool and comfortable because it is a pretty great system, except for it's getting overworked in parts because parts of it. Okay, so we are still trying to resolve that. The sub pump could not keep up with the recent rain and pools in front. There was some flooding in the basement and there was some cooling outside of the staff entrance that came into the building as well. So John from FQC came out on Sunday to assess the problems, and it's always really great when the contractor can see them.
Yeah.
So he and Phil are working together on, okay, what do we do next? What improvements do we need to make? What changes to systems? Is there anything that's faulting? So they're assessing that this week and next.
Was anything damaged in the?
No, and in fact, there was the water spread as water does. But luckily the facilities team is very deliberate in how they put things away, so nothing is directly on any floor. There was a giant stack of paper that I was like, oh no, it's spongy paper. No, it was fine because it was on a flatbed cart. So yeah, it was a little extra work on their part, and we really appreciate what they did to make sure the spaces were safe for staff. So we'll see what happens next.
Well, I know I lost power for like 30 seconds during the storm
Sure.
on Saturday. Did the library lose power for any period?
I don't
of
think
time?
we did. Not that I'm aware of, but if it were after hours, I'm not sure that I would have had a report of it.
Didn't note any power
Oh,
loss.
yeah, it was after 6 o'clock on Saturday
Okay,
when it happened in my.
yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, nothing in our systems told us that it did, so.
And probably last night, we would just sort of notice because it was last after hours.
Because of when the alarms went off or the sirens went off, there were some staff that opted to stay at the building just to shelter because their commutes were a bit longer. And power stayed on and they had internet access the whole time and chairs in the basement and, we're reasonably comfortable in that situation. Absolutely. Well, and it was really lovely to see the staff just say, oh, you're going 30 minutes away? Let's just hang out. So 7 staff stayed, and waited out the worst of it, so.
That's great.
Good.
Were there any issues with this would have been, was it Monday, what Tuesday? Okay.
I know,
Earlier in the day, it wasn't related to this. When I came actually to pick up this, I guess it was Monday. The lights in the main, like I think they were out, dim or something.
Yeah.
Was that-
yes, so there was a
I'm gonna get the word wrong. There was an issue that we were dealing with,
Okay.
but there was like we need to reroute something. And the word is escaping me and that's bothering me, but, I can send a follow-up. It's just
No.
that they were deliberately off.
Yeah,
Um,
so they can fix.
So they can fix
Gotcha.
something and it's not fully resolved yet.
You don't have to send it.
Thank you.
No.
We did get nitty-gritty with some of the, I was really proud of remembering Tide Flex and what that meant for the whole site, so, you know, I'm like. Scraping by at the start of this one. Otherwise, for building updates, that's what I have for you today. I did want to mention, I sent an email out earlier today about a United for Libraries virtual event. There is a day specific for trustees on July 30th. If I'm reading the publication correctly, it's saying you can participate in this on demand. So maybe not so much in the discussions, but if you wanted to participate, just respond to that email. And then I know Ginger was interested, and Ginger, I wasn't sure if you were planning to do all 3 days or just the one, so you don't have to tell me now, but I'll follow up with you on that. The other 2 days were for the foundation and for friends groups, but there were interesting topics across all 3 days. So just if you're interested, you let me know. That was what I had for you for the director's report.
There is one
Oh, sorry, Sue.
mistake in the director's report. The date under the art exhibit is for the reception. It's actually, it says September 9th, but it is the 20th, which is a Friday. And so
So on page one of
on the
the,
very first item under the director's report under the art exhibit update.
Okay.
So the public reception
20th?
will be on the 20th and not the 9th.
Oh. Okay.
So
So-
please feel free to come.
Sue, did you decide on what kind of wall display, things to use?
Yes, yes, it's a hanging system. It's a stiff hanging system that's clear. And so the rails that are similar to like this one that's on the wall here, there's little hooks that have these rails, and then there's clips that you have on these hooks, and then they're adjustable to hang, you know, and all the artists will supply framed artwork that's already wired. And actually the folks from the Morton Arboretum Photography Society will come and do the work of hanging it.
Oh, nice.
We'll be here to assist if they need, but they're basically supervising the drop-offs, the hanging, and then the pickups too. So hopefully that's a bit of a precedent that we can encourage for future events that we have, you know, for gallery showings.
Great. So is that what you saw on roofs at, whatever library it was you visited? I can't remember.
Westwood, yeah. Westwood,
Woodward.
yeah.
So that.
And those W1s.
I like saying things have been in use and that's what's recommended.
Mhm.
We also have purchased some panels that we can use in the hub in a variety of different configurations, and that same hardware can be hung on those panels, though there's a lot of flexibility. Perhaps there might even be room for one up here on this floor. Most of the work will be on the back wall on the second floor, along the side of this wall right here, adjacent to the elevators. To the right of the meeting rooms, when you're entering the meeting rooms, there'll be a rail installed there, so that's where the majority of the hanging work will be in addition to these panels. So we could have, I think that they're saying that maybe even up to 200 photos, and
Wow.
we had visited the exhibit when it was at the Arboretum, and it's stunning. There's some of this, the photography is really, really beautiful, and I think it'll be exciting. We'll have, you know, a tease in the lobby, in the hub, so that we can encourage people to come upstairs and walk through the exhibit.
Nice. Do we have to provide some kind of insurance rider for someone else's property in the?
We have waivers that we've been using in prior buildings that basically just says it's your risk to bring materials in here. So we will be updating those and cross-checking them with our attorney just to make sure that there hasn't been any major changes since we last updated them. But that will be it's also related to one of the policies that will go to the policy committee later this month and then to the board next month. It is a lot to consider, but we're excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this group, the MAPS group, has exhibited at other libraries prior, so you know, they know what they're getting into and they're excited about it.
It's working out nice that that's the first project.
Yes,
it sure is. Yeah.
You know,
There's a
they've
level of
done-
convenience there.
Yeah.
I have kind of a random question. So a friend, we don't have a friends group, do we, formally.
We do not have a friends group, we have a
But
foundation.
those are different.
Yes.
I'm only asking, because my aunt, who I just spent a lot of time with, she's the chair of her friends group at a library in Arkansas. And I was like, I thought she'd chair their board. She goes, no, I'm chair of the board of the friends. And I'm like, we don't have friends. She's, and they have a bookstore and everything. She's like, most libraries have that. And I'm like, we don't. And she's like, well, they all have bookstores. And I'm like, and then I started looking at some, I abandoned that because I didn't have time, but I was like, I just Googled a couple of them and I'm like, well, they don't have a friends group and I don't remember even if that.
Yeah. Ginger, did you want to speak to like what the foundation is versus a friends group?
Sure. So,
I mean, I kind of have a sense, but
yes, the foundation is a totally different animal where it's going to create the large amount of money in a trust versus a small amount of money through either a bookstore, small fundraisers like Culver's Nights, Dairy Queen Nights, things like that, that goes back to buy bookmarks for little things. The foundation is going to put together large amounts of money to replace carpet or to fund a scholarship. And so what we have that Mary Marshall started is the foundation. We had a friends group at the old library that was kind of also part of the, some of the women from the Gardens Club that were also involved with that have kind of dissolved in the transition, and no one has picked that back up.
well,
So it's all.
I think they were very active.
I will say
You know,
to their credit,
I've been on the board.
the friends money, so the friends group was not, I've been here 12 years.
Yeah,
And the friends group had disbanded prior to that.
Yeah.
But the money that they had raised helped sustain summer reading program as a little bit of a buffer year to year, and it paid for several years of Bean Stack. So
Yeah,
the-
paid for when we did the, conference room downstairs.
okay,
They paid for the projector and a few other things.
okay, that was friends.
That was the friends group.
Yeah, so they did some work there, and there was like a larger scale annual book sale, and then we moved to having kind of like the book nook in the old building, and now we're doing, now we're doing the, what are we calling it, like the pop-up book sales.
Right.
We had one in early June, and I think we sold 161 items.
But
So
that was not a function of the friends. Group.
No.
That was something the library.
that's something the library does, and it's because patrons are so interested in purchasing used books that we found a way to do it with,
Okay.
limited staff time and, a limited footprint, because it's on a couple carts.
Right.
Do you feel like there's a need, like, is there something that a friends group will do for us that we don't really have covered?
I don't know, I just asked, I do remember the whole Friends Garden Club story, but to my knowledge, it hasn't been like what you said, 12 years. How long have I been here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before my time with the
I
library.
would say it was 2000.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
So that
And
was
the reason
big.
it disbanded is because there was no younger people coming in to replace the people who could no longer. And membership was dwindling, and
Yeah.
the people willing to help out with the annual book sale, because it took a lot of sorting in the old, in the basement of the old building.
Yeah,
It just disbanded.
well, in our foundation, it hasn't been super active. It's been to my knowledge.
Well, they're meeting regularly, but they have not, they're still
Yeah,
collecting that financial mass that they're trying to accumulate, so.
so it was more of a question than any kind of, that's all. Yeah.
And the foundation was originally in place because people wanted to make donations to the library, but we couldn't do it directly.
So
We needed the foundation.
and I understand that's the purpose of a foundation, so that would seem like that should continue and probably be strengthened. Friends group, I don't know.
There are, just to clarify, you can donate directly to the library, but there are different tax benefits for donating to the foundation, so that was a distinction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right,
Everything last time, okay, so anything else in the library director? Move on to departmental reports, any questions on, anything in the departments?
No, everything looks good. Lots of
I
fun
can't
stuff
believe that
there.
Aaron had 66 people in 13 programs.
Yep.
Because I've been in a couple of our computer classes, and there was only 3 or 4 people.
It varies, yeah, no, that we've had some success lately. I just walked past a program.
Well,
Mhm, yeah.
And she is so incredibly patient. I haven't done any of the classes, but I've been some of the print things over the summer and whenever she is providing technology help with someone, she is so thorough and patient. And I did say this to her, but I think she deserves a shout out. I mean, she doesn't know anything just.
Well, I have said it to her because I've been in a class
Yeah.
and just incredibly great walking you through anything that you're trying to learn.
Yes. And then some of the feedback, even if it's when I was at the farmer's market, she was described by a patron who came up and was like, she was so great. She wrote out the instructions and I was able to do it. Oh, yeah. She was so excited and thankful for her.
She also assisted me at the scanner last week. I had baby pictures from my husband there from 55, 54, 55, and 56 that I needed to scan, so.
Your voice is very calm.
Yes.
Well,
Should I color it?
I'm gonna give a shout out to Melissa in 411 because I met with Ann last week for the agenda and I was walking out, I saw that she was having a class later that night. Turned myself back around and showed up for that class. She had a lot of people. And, you know, we were learning cricket and, she was giving the details and she just having to keep going back because, you know, some of us get lost, you know, trying to follow it. We just, you know, there's a lot of it, but she kept going back and today I went in there and spent a couple hours working on a project and I'm having a good time. I'm so glad to see the face of you. That was the comment from everybody in the class. They were like overjoyed. They loved it so much. They're like, when are you going to start a club for us crafters? So just know it's being enjoyed. Good. Yeah. All right, I don't think.
I just, for marketing, I was excited about this new resident postcard service, Sue. That's really cool that you're gonna, I
which
guess
one are you saying?
it was on Christie's report. Just the spring fair.
Oh, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
New resident postcard service, pulls addresses of all new residents.
Yeah.
Who recently moved into the district, so we can engage them as they're
Yeah,
getting
that's
ready
very
to.
good.
I was excited about that, and also, Alex's facility site, the traffic counting system. That was cool,
Getting some interesting statistics out of that.
yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Tuesday, let's go. We have a motion to adjourn.
I vote to adjourn. I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.